It was only days ago that the film world was mourning the shocking and tragic early death of director John Singleton, whose game-changing 90s drama Boys in the Hood was a landmark drama that helped kick off a wave of independent genre film, wherein filmmakers and actors of underrepresented communities could realize stories for and about themselves and their own cultures that also spoke to the universal language of narrative entertainment. That same spirit, if not necessarily that same precise once-in-a-generation caliber of filmmaking, certainly reverberates in El Chicano, an unusual hybrid of police thriller and gangland family melodrama that's haunted by and eventually transforms into elements of a gritty vigilante superhero origin story developed as the feature writer-director debut of longtime stunt professional Ben Hernandez-Bray, who describes it as a semi-autobiographical story based in part on his own East Los Angeles youth and relationship with his own family and late brother. Set almost entirely in and around predominantly Mexican-American East Los neighborhoods, the story follows Raul Castillo as a conflicted LAPD detective attempting to unravel a mass execution of gang members that appears to have been carried out by their own leader, a dangerous local kingpin connected to the suspicious, maybe not suicide, of said detective's ex-felon twin brother. Amid the investigation, the elaborate mystery behind which takes up actually much more of the running time than the film's action-focused advertising would lead one to believe. It's much more of a cop film than a superhero movie. He comes to believe that his brother had been attempting to not only go straight after prison, but to revive the persona of El Chicano, essentially a Latino version of the Punisher, said to have stalked the barrio as far back as the 50s, delivering vigilante justice from a souped-up motorcycle and executing villains with a ceremonial Aztec knife.
In the barrio, bad things happen when the sky turns black.
As the unfolding criminal conspiracy is revealed to encompass a ruthless Mexican cartel that threatens to consume the people, the police, and even the local small-time gangs, he has to decide whether to go outside the law and become the new El Chicano in his brother's place. Like I said before, it's actually a little complicated to the point of convoluted. After a brief prologue introducing a few of the characters as children and establishing that El Chicano did in fact exist at one point, it's a full hour before the actual costume vigilante plot point comes into play again. Until that point, the film otherwise proceeds as a semi-grounded, realistic if highly stylized cop movie mainly concerned with fleshing out the complexities of the East Los ethnic and inter-community hierarchy, where character loyalties divide between police and the streets, blood family and found family, and even language, with the characters frequently switching between English and Spanish in conversation, and English subtitles only being deployed for absolutely necessary minimal exposition, and a running subplot about whether or not the hero's Midwestern-born partner is Mexican enough to be trusted by the locals. Even El Chicano's eventual struggle against the cartel comes to emerge from an eyebrow-raising ideological framework wherein Latino Angelinos who see themselves as successors to the revolutionaries who resisted the conquest of early California by the U.S. must now repel a narco boss who burnishes his criminal menace with speeches about Reconquista zealotry. That's certainly an unexpected tangle of nuances one isn't expecting from a low-budget vigilante shoot-'em-up mainly being advertised on the novelty of its R rating as an Avengers counter-programming option and claimed to being the first Hollywood-released feature with an all-Latino main cast since Selena back in 1997, which feels like it shouldn't be 100% accurate, but the fact that I can't say it's not right away kinda makes the point, doesn't it? Said cast incidentally includes Aimee Garcia, Jose Pablo Cantillo, George Lopez, Marlene Forte, Sal Lopez, David Castaneda, and a big star cameo at the very end that I assume gets a big reaction with the right audience. To put it mildly, it's a film with noble ambitions, and a lot of them, which is why it's kind of unfortunate that it isn't better than it is, ultimately. It's certainly not bad, if anything. What problems there are mainly stand out because so much of it looks and feels so polished and above average for something put together by a first-time director, backed up by producer and co-writer Joe Carnahan, who also helped the film find financing after major studios passed on the project for a shockingly low budget. It's a slick-looking and largely involving feature, mainly held in place by unresolved tonal issues between Bray's obviously sincere commitment to getting a lifetime's worth of extremely varied and complex thoughts on race, family, culture, history, ethnic identity, Mexican-American history, and the particularities of East Los Angeles into a singular narrative, and combining that with something like a Batman, Punisher, Dirty Harry hybrid character. That sort of thing was always going to be a pretty heavy lift, so the abrupt gear shift from Dick Wolf-style cop drama to Marvel Netflix superhero bloodbath in Act 3 working at all is a feat in and of itself. So El Chicano, yes, is an imperfect film, but genuine independent filmmaking from underrepresented, overlooked perspectives usually is. What I can say is that what it may lack in polish and grace, it makes up in authenticity and earnestness. But overall, I found it interesting and very compelling. 6 out of 10, worth looking for if it comes your way.